And with that, let's quickly cut across to some live visuals coming in from Kerman, where the slain General Qasem Soleimani's burial is currently underway. Remember, he was scheduled to get buried yesterday, but due to the stampede which took the lives of 60 people, his burial had to be stalled for today. And now, eventually, the burial is currently underway. Remember, it was in the wee hours of Friday that the general was assassinated by US forces as they targeted him at a Baghdad airport. And in the past few days, Iran has mourned and grieved the death of their revered general, as we've been witness to packed streets in Iran. Streets packed with mourners carrying Shiite flags, mourning the death of their general, who was, of course, a revered one. That also perhaps explains why the stampede took place. People have been arriving in full force to pay their last tributes to the slain general. The death toll in the stampede of Soleimani's funeral procession has touched 56. Over 190 others have been injured in the city of Kerman, where Soleimani was born and spent his formative years. And it is in this hometown that he will be buried. The injured were immediately transferred to the hospital. Initial videos that were posted online showed people lying lifeless on a road and others shouting and trying to help them. The burial of Qasem Soleimani has been suspended after dozens were killed in a stampede. It was suspended yesterday, but eventually it is taking place today. As we confirmed that 56 is the death toll of those who died from the stampede that took place yesterday. The larger context is very important to note over here, because let's not forget that Qasem Soleimani's assassination has led to an escalated global conflict which has certainly divided the world. And it is just today that Iran has retaliated for the death, for the killing of their slain general, Qasem Soleimani, of course, a revered general in Iran. He was heading the elite wing of the Revolutionary Guards Corps. He was heading the Quds forces. His death, of course, has had ripples across the globe. Donald Trump, of course, threatened to destroy 52 cultural sites in Iran, following which, of course, there was much backlash coming in from the president of Iran and the Revolutionary Guard Corps as well. They have vowed revenge, and the latest that is coming in is that Iran has attacked two strategic and extremely important military bases of the US troops in Iraq, the Erbil and the Al-Assad. So now this is the latest that we are bringing to you in Kerman, the hometown of the slain general Qasem Soleimani, as he's being laid to rest. Important to note that he is the only man with a multi-city funeral. Iran has never witnessed such a multi-city funeral in decades. The last that was seen was in 1979. Qasem Soleimani's funeral procession moved through various cities in Iran. His mortal remains arrived in Tehran a day ago, and it was yesterday that his body arrived in Kerman. And today, as you can see, the burial is eventually taking place after several others met a tragic end who had come to pay tribute to their slain general. There's much to mourn about in Iran. Not only has their revered general been slain, but there's also been a stampede that's taken the lives of 56. We're also being told that the latest death toll has crossed 56. And according to the Iran state news agency, the burial of Soleimani had been postponed yesterday, and it is today that it is finally taking place. As you can see, Soleimani is being buried at the Martyrs Cemetery in Kerman, just like in Tehran and Nawaz. Thousands have gathered to catch a final. It was on Friday that General Qasem Soleimani was assassinated by a US drone in Baghdad last Friday. His body was flown by a passenger jet into Iran earlier this week and paraded through the streets of multiple major cities including Tehran, Qom, Mashhad and Awaz. Needless to say, his assassination is going to have repercussions which are beginning to reflect, are beginning to manifest, as Iran has retaliated today. This, of course, has also led to much political rhetoric coming in from the United States. On one hand, there was the President Donald Trump threatening to attack 52 cultural sites of Iran. At the same time, Mike Pompeo has deferred in his stance. He said that the US will not dare to attack any of the cultural sites which come under the UN protection. And that clearly goes on to also hint at the dichotomy and the difference in the stance that the US authorities have at the moment. While Donald Trump has been, of course, provoking the current situation, doesn't seem to be toning down his rhetoric. The allies, of course, have been calling for the United States to calm down. This seems to be a conflict which is indeed going to have far-reaching effects. It already is. Let's not forget how important the Middle East is at the moment. It is also an important energy market globally, and we're looking at some far-reaching effects as far as the global scenario is concerned. And as far as Qasem Soleimani's burial is concerned, this is the first time Iran has honored an individual with a multi-city funeral since the death of their Islamic Republic founder, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, in 1989. As you can see, huge crowds of mourners have arrived. This is, of course, not half the size of the crowd that was appearing till yesterday. There has been a considerable depletion in the crowds that turned up, but yesterday's stampede has indeed arrived as a dampener, where more than 56 people have lost their lives. And it was yesterday, due to the stampede that took place, that the burial had to be scheduled for today. And as we speak, this burial is happening at a very crucial moment for Iran and world history, because 9 rockets have hit the Iraq base housing US troops. These 9 rockets slammed into an Iraqi airbase in the country's west, where US and coalition forces were based. One of the attack was at the Al Asad Air Base, and the other being at Erbil. And we're also being told that Iraq has already received a US letter regarding troop withdrawal. And while Donald Trump is claiming that the killing of Qasem Soleimani was a retaliation for the death of Americans, and that they have killed, that the Iranians and Soleimani have killed people from America, this doesn't seem to be going down well for Iran at the moment, which is almost baying for the blood of the Americans.
قلب دشمنا گذاشتی سلام گل معطرم سلام نور مطهرم سلام شهید سربلند سلام مدافع حرم سلام مدافع حرم سلام عزیز پرپرست عزیز برادرم سلام ماه منورم سلام یل دلاورم سلام ماه منورم سلام یل دلاورم سلام مسافر بهشت سلام مسافر بهشت سلام مدافع حرم سلام مدافع حرم اینجا برا همه دعا کن که
As you can see, the burial is currently underway as the Iranians finally put their slain and most revered general to rest. It's important to also remember who the man Qasem Soleimani was, an Iranian major general in the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. From 1998 until his death, he was the commander of the elite Quds Force. That is a division primarily responsible for extraterritorial military and clandestine operations, which is also the equivalent of the CIA in America. He's also credited for cracking down on the ISIS. He's played an important role. Soleimani began his military career at the start of the Iran-Iraq war during the 1980s. He eventually commanded the 41st Division back then. He was later involved in extraterritorial operations, providing military assistance to Hezbollah in Lebanon. In 2012, Soleimani helped bolster the government of Bashar al-Assad, a key Iranian ally during Iran's operations in the Syrian civil war. He also helped to plan the Russian military intervention in Syria.